From the deserts of ancient Egypt to the high mountains of Tibet. From the grand cathedrals of Europe to the quiet mosques of Indonesia. From tiny village shrines to vast sacred temples. Humans have always bowed. We kneel, we prostrate, we raise our hands, we sing, we whisper, we weep. But why? Why do humans across cultures, languages, and histories instinctively feel the need to worship? Is worship just superstition, an outdated survival instinct? Is it merely social conditioning, rituals passed down without meaning? Or is there something deeper? Something logical, something hidden? In this video, we will uncover the hidden logic of worship. We'll explore its universality, its psychology, its philosophy, and its power to transform. And maybe, just maybe, we'll discover that bowing before God is not an act of weakness, but the most profoundly human act of all. Part 1. Worship across cultures, a universal language. Let's begin with a fact that is both obvious and mysterious. Every human civilization in history has worshipped. The ancient Egyptians bowed before Ra, the sun god. The Greeks sang hymns to Zeus on Mount Olympus. The Israelites built a temple for Yahweh in Jerusalem. Hindus have offered flowers, fire, and food to their deities for millennia. Christians gather to celebrate the Eucharist in churches around the world. Muslims pray 5 times a day, kneeling and prostrating in submission to Allah. Even outside formal religion, the same gestures appear. Bowing before a king, kneeling before a queen, standing in reverent silence before a monument. The language of worship is universal. Why? Why do cultures that had no contact with each other arrive at such similar expressions? The anthropologist Mircea Eliade once said, "Man is homo religiosus, the religious being." Worship, it seems, is not accidental. It is written into our very humanity. Part 2. The psychology of worship, the human impulse. So what does worship do to us psychologically? First, worship evokes awe. Modern neuroscience has studied what happens when people experience awe, whether in nature, music, or prayer. The brain quiets its self-centered chatter. The ego shrinks. A sense of vastness and connection grows. When we kneel, bow, or lift our hands, we embody this awe. The posture itself reinforces humility and surrender. Second, worship provides belonging. We are social creatures. Singing in a congregation, chanting in unison, or bowing together creates a powerful bond. Worship ties us to something beyond ourselves, both to a community and to the transcendent. Third, worship creates order in our inner lives. By setting aside time and space for prayer or ritual, we remind ourselves that not everything revolves around us. We step out of chaos into sacred rhythm. Interestingly, psychology shows that people who engage in regular worship, however defined, often report greater resilience, lower anxiety, and deeper meaning in life. So worship is not just for God's sake. It's also for our sake. Part 3. The paradox of bowing, small yet free. Here lies a paradox. When humans bow, they make themselves small. And yet, in that very act, they become free. Think of it. A proud person is enslaved to their pride. A selfish person is enslaved to their ego. But a humble person, who bows, who lets go, is free to love, free to serve, free to grow. This is the hidden psychology of worship. By bowing before God, we are not diminished. We are liberated. Part 4. The philosophy of worship. Why worship is logical. Now let's move deeper. Is worship logical? Philosophers and theologians have long argued that it is. Take Thomas Aquinas, the great medieval thinker. He said worship is an act of justice. Justice means giving each their due. And if God is the source of all life, existence, and goodness, then what is his due? Acknowledgement, gratitude, worship. To refuse to worship God would be like refusing to thank your parents for giving you life. It is not just rude, it is unjust. Or consider C.S. Lewis. He once wrote, "In the process of being worshipped, God communicates his presence to men." In other words, worship is not for God's benefit, he needs nothing. It is for our benefit. Through worship, we encounter the reality of God. Worship, then, is not irrational superstition. It is the most rational response to reality. Imagine standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon. You don't need to be told to gasp in wonder. The sight itself demands it. In the same way, the very existence of God, if real, demands worship. It is the logical response of a creature to the Creator. Part 5. Worship as transformation, the hidden logic. Here is the heart of the matter. Worship transforms. When we worship money, we become greedy. When we worship pleasure, we become addicted. When we worship power, we become corrupt. But when we worship God, we become holy. Why? Because we are shaped by what we love most. What we worship is what we become. Saint Augustine put it beautifully, "You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you." Worship aligns the restless human heart with its true home. It reorders desire. It purifies pride. It directs the soul toward what is eternal. This is the hidden logic of worship. To bow before God is to rise into our fullest humanity. Part 6. The challenge of modern worship. But here's the challenge. Today, many see worship as outdated. Kneeling, bowing, singing hymns, too old-fashioned. And yet, worship has not disappeared. It has simply shifted. People worship celebrities, technology, political ideologies, personal success, even themselves. We all bow before something. The only question is, before what, or whom? The Bible warns that false gods lead to slavery. But the true God leads to freedom. Part 7. Worship in Christianity, God who bows first. Nowhere is this paradox clearer than in Christianity. For Christians, God does not only demand worship. He bows first. Jesus Christ, the Son of God, knelt to wash his disciples' feet. He humbled himself unto death on a cross. In Christianity, worship is not a one-way act. It is a dialogue of love. We bow before God because he first bowed to us. This is the most hidden logic of all. The Almighty does not crush us with his power. He lifts us by his humility. Part 8. The call to worship, a final reflection. So where does this leave us? We have seen that worship is universal, found in every culture. It is psychological, meeting deep needs for awe, belonging, and order. It is philosophical, an act of justice, the rational response to reality. It is transformative, shaping us into what we were made to be. The hidden logic of worship is this. We do not bow because God needs it. We bow because we need it. And the real question is not, do you worship? The real question is, who, or what, do you bow before? So I ask you, the viewer, when you kneel, when you bow, when you give your heart, is it before something temporary? Or is it before the eternal? Because in the end, worship is not just ritual. It is destiny. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you see worship in a new light, consider sharing it with someone who has wondered about the meaning of prayer, faith, or bowing before God. And remember this. The act of bowing may look like lowering yourself. But in truth, it is rising higher than you could ever go alone.